Drive his way, good soul. So even to this day, after over a year of coronavirus, there is still misinformation and disinformation about it. In the beginning, YouTube was banning people's videos and putting little disclaimers, as well as this year the disclaimer that Biden won the presidency, even though I was talking about Joseph Smith in 1844. So yes, even YouTube does not know the correct information, despite being told from the beginning by the medical professionals all that we needed to do to protect ourselves. And so I'd been doing videos on TWG into last year, and had not been doing them lately, other than to tell you guys that we're dying, and it's a fulfillment of section 45 verse 31 of the Doctrine and Covenants. But the state of Utah, in case you've forgotten, has a website dedicated solely for coronavirus statistics. It's through the Utah Department of Health, and it's coronavirus.utah.gov/case-counts/. You can do the regular coronavirus.utah.gov and then click into the case counts. And then there's the overview, the risk factors, hospitalizations and mortality, demographics, trends, outbreaks, schools, vaccines. And so this year, we had misinformation and disinformation about vaccines. Not surprising, we've had anti-vaxxers in the United States for decades. And so, if you go into the schools page or tab and you click down to the school age group specific case rates, there's some charts. One for 5 to 10 years, 11 to 13 years, 14 to 18 years. You can see where coronavirus first took off, and then it went down a little bit, and then boom. And then you can see, as the vaccines were administered, steep drop in the case counts. All is better, all is well in Zion, right? Well, Delta virus, the variant, came into Utah. We were all made aware of this from the very beginning. But you can see when Delta virus hit Utah, because it's hitting the kids first, then the hardest. And in all three categories, you can see that same thing. The first lump, then it goes down, and then we're now in the incline. And the first bump is bigger than the original bump of coronavirus last year. Bigger. And so, are we just going to continue to do what we're doing and hope that things will be different? Again, I shouldn't even have to do this. At the beginning of coronavirus, the medical professionals were saying that we needed to stay home. I was concerned, hey, how do we get food? Kind of essential, toilet paper, remember all that? Well, that was because our governments in the various states and in the nation refused to shut everything down to protect our lives. Money was more important than our lives. That needs to be remembered and understood. Money is more important than our lives. They dismissed the medical professionals. See, it was up to the governors to make sure that everybody got food while they stayed home and stayed safe, toilet paper and stuff. I made recommendations and videos on how it could have been done. The church could have gotten involved. They can do a lot of things. Exmo Lex did a video not too long ago about 6 ways the church could improve. Seriously, Exmo Lex? Seriously? The church can improve by shutting its doors and closing forever. You cannot produce good fruit from a bad tree. John Dehlin needs to hear that too. I might consider going back to the church if they made a few changes. And so Nelson comes out and says, oh, we're going to have a fast to cure coronavirus. How well did that go? It didn't. He then had another one that he again made the announcement in conference, the one where we were supposed to have it all dedicated to the 200th anniversary of the first vision. Instead, it was downgraded to a simple Saturday session. And Mormons thought it was a fulfillment of the October 2019 prophecy. This will be a conference you'll never forget. It was prophesied that we were going to have it, the coronavirus. And he holds fast secure it, rather than following the scriptures where Moses says, hey, stay home. Where do you think the medical professionals got that idea from? And so, after 2 coronavirus failure fasts, we go all the way through Thanksgiving. Governor Herbert opens the state too early, which you can see exactly when he sent the kids to school, because that's when it took off for the second time. We were told that it may not be a problem during the summer. Well, that's the first hump. We kept getting lied to. And so, if you also pay attention, there are lines. It's kind of difficult to see where the lines are as you go back. You have to keep up on it every day. But church is a super spreader. The news even came out with reports saying that churches are being used as super spreaders of coronavirus. And there was confusion. Now that we're being extorted to go to work and send our kids to school, or do we keep our kids home? And what do we do for childcare? Because we have to go to work. Or do we cancel work and say, I quit? I will not have my life and my kids' lives put in jeopardy because of your extortion threats. But nobody had the guts to stand up to their businesses. And so people kept going to work. In Utah, Herbert said, well, if it's essential work, you should keep going. But for the non-essential work, stay home. Yeah, how many people think their job is not essential? It's the way you get money. It's the way you pay for bills. We just had the rental thing extended for 2 more months, I guess. As Biden is slow on the draw to pull our translators out of Afghanistan and slow to extend the moratorium, slow to get money to the people, slow to get the vaccines out, slow. I mean, he went and was speedy in that truck he was test driving after threatening the life of one of the reporters. And so we have Mormons who not only make national news, but they make the late night comedy. Oh, yeah, Granny just got exposed on late night comedy as a psycho. Isn't that special? Way to go, Granny. If you didn't see that one, I refer you to Trevor Noah's Comedy Central show that he has. It's available on YouTube. You can watch it for free. And so, what do we do about masks? So much confusion. At first, everybody was going around cleaning things. Oh, that'll cure coronavirus. And yes, Lysol and disinfectants do kill it. As Lysol had to put out after Trump comes out and says, maybe we should inject ourselves with disinfectants. And Lysol says, please do not ingest. And so, yeah, that didn't stop the spread of coronavirus and the escalation of it. Why? Well, we know in retrospect, it's passed through our mouths. It's something we breathe in from others who breathe it out. And so, why then do we wear masks? Well, it's because if we are infected, because there are people who are asymptomatic. It's mostly the rich white people, because those of color, those who are poor, have suffered the greatest from this, in retrospect now. So, that's kind of suspicious that this is a racially and financially biased virus. And so, if it's spread by someone who has the virus as they breathe out, do you think they should wear a mask? Yeah, that's what the health professionals were saying. You need to wear the mask. Because if you just have the mask and you don't have it, you're still getting it, remember? Well, how did that happen? I wore a mask. I still got it. It's because it breathes out. Those murderous bleeps who refused to wear their masks were the ones who infected you. Because they had it, whether they were asymptomatic or not, breathed it out. And it goes through your eyes, or it goes through the cracks of your face mask. Many people still to this day wear it around just their mouth so that they can breathe out their nose. That's worthless. And so the masks do not protect us. If you wanted to be protected from the virus, and our government forced us to go out and go shopping and go to work and go to school, we wear the mask just in case we have it, but it doesn't protect us unless we are wearing 3-layer masks, the hospital one, and then there's the cloth version things. They have to be the particular kind, and then you wear a more industrial hospitalized version, and then you wear goggles. That will protect you 100%. The 3-layer masks and goggles. So how many people did that? Yeah, not even I did that, I guess. But by the time I learned that that's what we were supposed to do, it was later in the year last year. And so, now that we have vaccines, how do we know if we need to worry about it? And we were deceived because we didn't stop and change to follow the health professionals. Our government, our church, refused to shut down to protect its people. And so, yeah, there's violent protests about not wanting to wear a mask and having their agency taken away. Lucifer is running amok among the deep state Dems, trying to get us to wear a mask. It's because it's not gone. We were warned from the beginning there would be mutant strains, that if we didn't shut down to get it under control, it would just continue and have its ups and downs. Wow. You self-fulfilled their prophecy of doom because you didn't listen to them. And so, do we need a vaccine? No, because we can stay home and stay safe. If you isolate, you don't need a vaccine. You're not in contact with anybody, therefore no virus, no infection, no need for a mask or a vaccine. So see, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm isolated. I isolated myself this whole time. But if you're being extorted to go out into the public, to go to school, to go to work, to go shopping, you have to wear a mask. It's not going to protect you from dummies who refuse to wear a mask and are infected. Because if nobody was infected in whatever group situation you were in, nobody's going to get infected. Nobody's going to spread it. If it doesn't exist, it can't be spread. But it exists, and it's getting spread. And we don't know who is and who isn't. And so we wear the mask to protect other people's lives. Nope. Not even Mormon Utahns want to protect other people's lives. Not Granny, not your relatives, not your family, not your friends, not your church members. You are vessels of murder. And you justify it by saying you're confused. So much misinformation and disinformation. When it comes to religion, who do you go to for truth? And the answer should have been the Spirit. So for a medical viral pandemic outbreak, do you trust the government? Do you trust the church? Or do you trust medical professionals? So why were you confused again? They told you what needed to be done. And so, yes, when a viral outbreak occurs, we've seen the movies. You know, the federal government comes in hazmat suits, tents up whatever area the viral outbreak occurred. Everybody stays there. That's quarantine. And there's usually some kind of washing that's done, destroying of the clothes, and then there's all sorts of testing that is done on the human body to check to see what they have, and then working on a vaccine. And in the movies they make it very dramatic. Time is running out, oh no, people are dying, we don't know what it is. But we found out what this is. We know. And they were working on the vaccines. But we were also told that if you have the symptoms, or you have been in contact with somebody who has had the symptoms, you need to isolate yourself. And if you have the symptoms, get yourself tested, which was kind of frustrating because we have to go out into the public and expose ourselves as we are infected to get tested. So our poor nurses and doctors are not given the equipment necessary to protect themselves, and let alone, we had that fake testing company. So that didn't help. But yeah, that's the process. If you isolate, you're safe. Only those who try to come into your life, they're the potential threats. And if you're infected, you have to quarantine. And we just didn't do that. Governor Herbert made it so that if you test positive, you're back out onto the streets, roaming around, spreading it to others. We got up to 10,000 Utahns who were infected, who were roaming the streets. They were not hospitalized, but they tested positive, all from the stats. And so with the vaccines, do we need to be vaccinated? Well, yeah, if we need to go out in public, to go to work, school, etc. We have to get to a certain high percentage, in the mid-80s, 90s if possible, of those to get vaccinated. So it would be kind of important to have vaccines for the people, right? Well, the liberal press is blaming the unvaccinated, trying to guilt trip them into getting vaccinated. Well, is that the case in Utah? Are there just Utahns who are refusing to get vaccinated? Well, yeah, obviously, but what's the situation? Well, there's the vaccines tab. What's the population of Utah? 3,206,000. 3,206,000. So the first little square thing is for vaccines delivered to Utah. 3,411,641. Wow, that's more than the population of Utah. Great, we have enough vaccines, right? Wrong. How many vaccines are we supposed to receive? 2. And they're now talking about 3. So only half of Utah can get fully vaccinated. We don't have enough vaccines. Okay, well, how many have been fully vaccinated? Well, they have little credit meters. And the second one over, percent all Utahns fully vaccinated. So they have the 2 vaccines, 46.5%. Oh crap. Almost all the vaccines have been used. And half of Utah don't have vaccines. So that Utah can get up to the mid-80s into 90s if possible. What the hell's going on with that? I did the figures the other day, as there's 52.7% who have 1 vaccine. But you got to subtract the 46.5 because it says at least 1 dose. And so that's 6.2 that only have 1. And so that takes away from the few vaccines that are available. We have around 24,000 vaccines in Utah available. That's it. For about 1.7 million Utahns. Now, are Utahns to blame for not having the vaccines? No. This is the governor's responsibility to order them for Utah. But what is he doing? Oh, he's blaming us if we're not vaccinated. Wow. Good job. Victim blaming for something you caused. And so, yes, I keep isolating. And if I have to go out to go shopping for food, I wear a mask. But it's not going to protect me, because I know going out I don't have the virus. I've isolated. There's nobody who infected me. But when I get home, it's anybody's guess as to what bleepity bleep got me infected, if I got infected. I could be one of the asymptomatic people. I don't know. I isolate. And it's sickening that Mormons, of all people, who are called by the title Latter-day Saints, who knew of the viral outbreak in section 45 verse 31, who knew that the latter days was going to be an upheaval situation, that the government would be on the brink of ruin, the Constitution would need to be rescued. And instead we have Mormons who are perpetuating and aiding and abetting in the destruction of America. Government leaders, religious leaders, aiding and abetting in the destruction of America and the murder of human beings. And I know nobody likes to hear it because they've already made up their mind that they're going to be anti-mask, anti-vaccine, anti-saving human life. It's interesting how Republicans are the pro-lifers. Now we realize that it isn't pro-life. It's only anti-single mothers is what they're talking about. So, thus sexism. Yay! And so, it's just It's sad. It's horrifying. I even got insider information from the director of the University of Utah, who was plotting with the state, thus the governor, and trying to get other states involved in it for a tsunami of mental patients. Well, mental illness is a fraud. Psychology is a fraudulent science, thus called pseudoscience. They don't use scientific testing. They are bullies. They name call you. Mental illness? Yeah, that's just the nice way of saying you're retarded, you're crazy, you're psycho, you're insane. All those bullying, abusive words. They're now saying, oh, no, we don't call you those words, we call you mentally ill. It's really a behavioral problem. That's all they're going after. And they are licensed to give out drugs, which from the commercials murders people earlier than their lifespan is supposed to be. Contact your doctor if you're dead. Really? Which may be fatal. Oh, okay, not dead? It was the Delta variant. That's what they were hoping for. To get more mental patients who are emotionally upset from coronavirus, who just break down, who have the psychological break. That's what they do. They purposely have you sit down on a couch and cry to talk about how rough things are in your life so that you break. A brainwashing technique. That's what bullies do. And they purposely used coronavirus to generate money from you. And the liberal media, oh yeah, they're all mental health, oh it's a real thing, it's serious. The Olympian? She couldn't focus. It's not a mental illness, but the liberal press, oh, mental health is a real thing, and she needs to, oh, we need to get more doctors. That's what they do. They claim that they're supporting you when all they're doing is breaking you. It is a huge racket that is causing great harm across this nation. And the University of Utah director plotted to cause the Delta variant with the spread and escalation, using Cox as governor, as they used Herbert. Notice how when the election came, they started claiming, oh, you guys are mentally ill. You've got election anxiety. There's no such thing. Trump caused it by lying. That stressed people out. They didn't know. Are they going to get deported? Are they going to die? Are they going to be locked up? That is not a mental illness. That is an external cause that can be solved by getting rid of the cause. Just like real medical doctors, they look for the cause so they can get rid of it so that you no longer have the malady. Psychos, yeah, there is no cause. They don't look for it. They just bully you into telling you you've got it. And you need to trust them. and take their drugs that are killing you. People who have severe mental illnesses called disabilities, like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, those aren't mental illnesses. Those are medical conditions that need to be seen by a real medical doctor, because we can identify those causes. A psycho isn't going to be able to find those causes by sitting you on a couch. Tell me about these delusions you're seeing. We're at war. Misinformation and disinformation is a part of the war strategy. And Utah and America has lost. America has fallen. We have no justice in the justice system. We have cops that glory in shooting unarmed black people. We have people who are so cold-hearted. Remember, it was prophesied, the hearts of men shall wax cold. That they glory in spreading the virus to murder. What is it going to take before people realize what they've done? This isn't a situation where, oh no, we couldn't have foreseen this. Oh, well, we'll make sure it doesn't happen again. It has happened before. We knew what to do. We didn't do it. We let history repeat itself. We let prophecy get fulfilled. We allowed, let's check how many millions. The Johns Hopkins coronavirus map shows the stats from around the world, although Russia, as we all know, was fudging their numbers. It's in the news lately. Oh no, we think Russia might be suppressing their numbers to make it look better than it actually is. Of course they are! That's what he does! Dear God. So yeah, 4,253,084 deaths as of 4:21 p.m. today. This is not cool, guys. 4 million deaths that could have been preventable had all the leaders said, you know what, maybe we should listen to the medical professionals on this. Maybe we should do what they say. Oh, how do we get food to the people then? We'll have to figure out a way to get food to everybody. This could have been prevented. We wouldn't have to debate whether we should wear a mask or not. We wouldn't have to debate whether we get a vaccine or not. We would have handled it right from the beginning. Yes, your lives would have been upended for a month, assuming everybody in the world cooperated. They didn't. And so this is going to go on indefinitely, killing off the weak around the world. This is an extermination event. This is genocidal warfare using a biological weapon, a viral weapon. And nobody's calling it for what it is. America still leads the world in deaths and in cases. India was closing in, but I think they stopped counting because it got too much. And then Brazil, oh, we just got a new temple there in Brazil from the last conference. I'm sure that has nothing to do with the church saying, you know what, you need to take care of the virus, otherwise we're not going to put a temple anywhere where nobody is controlling the virus. We will not expose our Mormons. Nope. Oh, you want to destroy America? We'll pretend to have a temple, we'll launder money for you. Yeah. And so there's Russia. Oh, look. Only 6 million cases and only 159,000 deaths. Right. I thought it was funny when he went to the hospital and forgot to wear the mask and shakes the hand with the guy who then tests positive after that. And so the next time he comes and visits the hospital, he puts on a whole hazmat suit. Huh. It is so sickening that people can't learn truth, can't weed through the lies from unauthorized sources. And this is what I'm having to deal with Mormonism. The church leaders, the prophets, are spreading misinformation and disinformation about church history and the doctrines and the theology and the administration and the scriptures. They're even purging information that they don't want Mormons to know. Purging church history. It was Martin Harris. His Wikipedia page used to say that he was on the Anti-Mason Committee in Palmyra. Why is purging that kind of bad? What does it matter? You're not watching my videos. And so likewise, you purge the people, you get a master race. You purge Mormonism, you get a master Mormon race. This is what's going on. It's World War II Nazi Germany to the infinity degree. We are at world war, not just civil war. And nobody is taking it seriously. Because they're too distracted by the misinformation and disinformation. They're not staying home and staying safe.